Okay, so I just wanted to make this quick video right now. It's currently 12 a.m. and I'm coming back home now from work. I just worked a 12 to 13 hour shift. And yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I know a lot of guys, I know a lot of you watching this video are probably working in a 9 to 5 job, or you know, you're working in hospitality and you probably start early in the morning, you finish late at night, and you know, your shift may vary. But I just wanted to make this video for you guys to tell you you know, a few things which I've discovered myself from this year's working different jobs. Right now I'm working in a restaurant. Before I've worked in constructions. Before that, you know, I did retail. So I got a lot of experience in this field. So I just wanted to share with you some lessons that I've learned. Thought that was someone that I've learned in this journey. So the first one is that if you work full-time especially, you will need to divide your days based on what hours you do. For example, if, I don't know, let's say 3 days out of 7 you work full-time, and then for example the other 2 days you do half days. This is if you work in hospitality, for example. What you're going to do is in those 3 days that you work full-time, it's fine if you do not get any work done. For example, in your business or in your hobby or your studies, whatever that you have going on apart from your work, when you work for a full day, for example, today I worked from 10 to 10:45, it's fine not to do any other work apart from the work that you do at your real job. You know, it's fine. Or for example, like when you start at, let's say that you work in a restaurant, you do from 5 to 11:30. This is what I do sometimes. In that case, what you're going to do is in the morning, you're going to have different blocks during the day. So in the morning when you wake up, you're going to work on your business, and then you're going to go to the gym, and then you're going to go to work. So the main thing that I want you to understand is that make sure that you have a routine for every single fucking day of the week. For example, let's say that you work 3 days, so 3 days out of 7, let's say that you work full time, that you work like the whole day, you're going to have a routine and you're going to follow it exact for those 3 days. Then let's say that on Monday you have work from like 10 to 5 or 9 to 5, for example. You're going to have a different routine, but make sure it's the same every single fucking week. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, so that's what you're going to do. For example, today I worked from 10 to 10:45, and I pretty much did anything but work. You know, I tried to go to the gym this morning. I tried to go for a run, but I couldn't because I traveled an hour to get to work. Last night I finished at 11:45 as well. I came back home very late, so I pretty much didn't have time apart from working today, and that's fine. I felt I always need to, every time I work these full days, I need to remind myself not to be pissed off if I didn't, for example, get a workout in, or if I didn't, which sometimes I do get a workout in on my break at work. But for example, today I couldn't, because there's going to be days where you're just simply not going to, and that's absolutely fine, especially if you work these crazy hours. So that's the first point. Just make sure you have a routine for every single day of the week, and make sure that you respect it. For example, on your days off, make sure that you put extra effort to work on your business, on your studies, on your hobbies, on the gym, or you're running, if you do boxing, for example, if you do any sports that you do. Just make sure that you make sure you divide your days based on what day is during the week. Let me give you an example. For example, tomorrow I don't work, which means that in the morning all I'm going to do is focus on, for example, YouTube, on my business, on you know, this sort of stuff. Then I'm going to go to the gym. So you see what I mean? I'm going to see friends, for example. So I'm dividing my days so I have a routine based on whatever day I have in the week. So when you have your days off, make sure that you just, you know, have blocks of your days. So in the morning you work on your business, on your studies, for example, on music, whatever you do, and then you go to the gym. And then on the days that you work, you have another routine. So you wake up at 7 o'clock every single time. Every time you have a day off, make sure that you wake up and you go to bed at the same time every time. So that's the first point. For every day of the week, just have a routine. And then the second point I want to tell you is sleep. Now, sleep, it's just so important. Sleep, especially if you work a full time and you work these crazy hours, making sure that you get enough sleep is hard already, and you do not want to waste your time just scrolling on your phone before you go to bed. Like, for example, now I'm gonna go home, and it's gonna require me discipline to just go to bed, because all I want to do now is just go home, go on YouTube, watch some videos, and talk to people on the phone, for example. But the most important thing that you do when you get home, especially after a long shift, is that you sleep. Sleep is literally discipline. Like, it takes discipline, it takes character to just, after a long day, to just go home and just sleep. And that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do every time. And that's what you need to master. You need to master sleep. You need to make sure that every time, at the same time, you go to bed. Now there's going to be days, for example, me tonight, I'm going to go home, I'm going to go to sleep at like 12:30. Tomorrow, I don't work, I'm probably going to sleep before that. So, and this goes back to the point that I said before, make sure you have a routine, a waking up time and a sleeping time for each single day of the week, which if you work a full time, for example, it might be different. For example, Saturday, you're going to go to bed at, for example, let's say 11 p.m. On a Monday, you're probably going to go to bed a bit earlier than that. So depending on what you have during the day, just make sure that you just follow a routine and you sleep at the same time every same day of the week, if that makes sense. I hope I worded that well. But so yeah, sleep, extremely important. And another thing that is so important is a diet. Food. The food that you put in your body is a reflection of the person that you are outside. And food is also an act of discipline. I work in a pizzeria. I'm around pizza 24/7, and it's so fucking hard for me not to have pizza every day. Of course, I'm gonna have it like once every 3 weeks, for example, but that's another point. But food is something that I've struggled with for my whole life, and it's discipline. So make sure that you eat well, you eat correctly, because what you put in your body is literally a reflection of the person that you're outside, the way that you think. Because if you eat too many carbs, you're gonna have brain fogs, and you're not gonna think clearly. And if you eat real food like eggs, meat, like, you're just gonna feel better. Like, you're literally gonna feel sharper. You're gonna feel better. You're gonna, your testosterone is gonna go high as well. Your testosterone is gonna go up if you eat the right food. So food is just so important. It's an act of discipline as well, and it's something that you need to master. It requires a lot of discipline. Like, all I want to do now is, I'm so hungry, I want to go home, eat cookies, but I'm not going to do that, because I know how shit I'm going to feel tomorrow morning, or even like 10 minutes after I binge eat cookies. So with food, for example, just think long term. You're going to feel shit if you eat bad food. If you eat junk food, if you order McDonald's, yeah, it's going to be tasty, whatever, but that feeling of pleasure is going to last for like 10-15 minutes, and after that you're going to feel like shit. So think long term, eat healthy pretty much every time. Of course, you're going to have cheat meals, but just eat healthy. You need to understand that you need to eat healthy, because the discipline that you put in your diet is going to reflect into other areas of your life, for example, your sleep. So yes, make sure that you eat well, because that requires discipline, and you can use the same discipline into other areas of your life, as I just said now. And another point that I want to make is that you need to have boundaries. You need to set boundaries for yourself and with other people. What do I mean? So if you work, for example, in a restaurant, whatever, there's going to be people that are going to offer you to eat, like pizza, for example. They're going to say, okay, let's go for a beer after that. And of course, sometimes you can. Like, sometimes I do go out with my colleagues, for example, but you can't be doing that every time if you're trying to become the best version of yourself. If you're on self-improvement and you want to become the best version of yourself, you cannot drink like shit, you cannot eat like shit. So, and that's your boundaries. You need to hold frame and just learn how to say no to people. As I said before, I'm going to keep saying it, because I do believe in balance. Of course, sometimes you can go out, you can have fun, whatever, but most of the time, just set boundaries with other people. Well, you should do that all the time, but what I mean is, just learn how to say no to people, and they will respect you more. That's the first point. And second of all, you will respect yourself more, because you can only have certain things in life. If you want to have like a six-pack, for example, you need to sacrifice certain foods, and you can't eat burgers if you want to have a six-pack. Simple as that. Or for example, if you want to wake up tomorrow morning and work on your business and feel sharp, you can't have a beer the night before. It just works like that. It's either one thing or another, and you need to, and the ability and the skill to say no to people, because it's a skill which I took a long time in order to master that skill, because I used to be a yes man. I used to say yes every fucking time because I thought it would make me feel better, and I thought that other people would like me more because of that. But that's not true. People don't respect you if you say yes every time. Just remember that. And so yeah, learn how to say no, and remember, it's either that or that. If you understand that and you learn how to say no to people, you'll have a better life. Simple as that. And the final point that I want to make, I said this was going to be a short video, but it's going to be probably over 10 minutes, and I'm almost home as well. So, and the last point that I want to make is just simply keep going. If you haven't seen results yet in business, at work, at the gym, for example, or in your personal life, in relationships, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Just keep going. Just keep going. If you haven't, for example, if you haven't had any success at the gym, if you still look like shit, but you've been consistent, you're either doing something wrong or you just haven't given enough time yet. It's either one or the other. So just keep going. That's all I can say to you. Just keep going. Just keep showing up. Just do what you're supposed to be doing. Just do your work. And and every single day it's a step closer to your goal. But the main important thing is just that you show up every time, and yeah.